Hello. So I've been busy making these grungy journals that you can see here. I've gotten 4 of them completed, but I have so much other stuff to still make, like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 other books. I'm not even sure yet. But I'm going to be taking a pause on this theme. I feel like 4 got a lot of the grunge desires satisfied. So I'm going to be moving on to mermaids and nautical themed journals next. So I will be showing you 4 journals tonight. It'll probably have to be 2 separate videos. And let's get started. Just a quick peek at what I've got here. And then I'll probably just go through 2 of them in this video and then make another video to go through the other 2. Just absolutely in love with how these journals turned out. They're all different and they're just very, very satisfying. I'm just really glad I was able to get these visions in my head out on paper. So I'm going to go ahead and go through these 2 real quick. They're a little bit simpler. This one is a layered grungy junk journal. I used a leather strap from another journal that I have. That's got this key attached to it. And I sewed it on to a file. So this is just a file folder. And I used bookbinder's tape here to give it more strength, as well as using some fabric on the inside, which is fun because it adds texture. It's not just a plain piece of fabric, it's pretty decorated. And it adds texture and it just adds more grunginess, but it also increases the stability of the book. And as you can see here, I distressed this a little bit. And then this edge was torn to make the beginning of the layers. And down here, I just got some little random rusted pieces. Feel free to, whoever gets this journal can feel free to cut that off. So the pages start out small to give the layered effect, and I do lots of crunchiness. It just sounds amazing and really gave me what I was looking for with my grungy style. I've got a rusted paper clip on here. This is a vintage book page. I've got all different kinds of pages in here. There's art mixed media pages or drawing pages. I'm not sure which one's which because I used them all. I've got printer papers and notebook papers. I've got another rusted paper clip here. Lots of grunginess going on the pages. Here's a vintage music sheet. This was a digital printed. Here we've got a vintage photo. I love the way that they feel, so I like to include those in my journal. I did some grungy painting on here, and some collaging, and some papers that add texture. We've got note paper and office, what are those called? The ledger papers. We've got a page that I heavily did have some heavy mixed media on, with a rusted charm. Here's another rusted charm and a rusted safety pin that can flip out. We've got some cardstock here, the rusted paper clip, packing paper. You name it, I've used it. Here is a brown paper bag, which gives you a really nice deep pocket. So that's the layered part we've gone through so far. We've got a spare piece of the file folder in here with another rusted paper clip. And these are full-size pages. So there's some pretty big journaling space in here. This one is definitely all about journaling. Lots and lots of writing space. As I go, the journals will add more and more things to them. Playful things and grunginess. This one is more for people who really love to write. Got another piece of the paper bag here, which if you want, you can tear this part off and make it just a big open pocket, or you can use this as a tuck by gluing this right here. I just wanted to leave this open to whatever you decide to do with it. The vintage piano music. And that's the biggest page right there, with the exception of the back. And now we're just going back through the pages we already saw. We've got another vintage or rusted paper clip, some artwork of mine, lots of grungy mixed media, some buttons, and lots of texture here. Creamy goodness. So this one's pretty basic, one signature, and the measurements are 10 1/4 tall. There's the other side of that vintage sheet. By 8 1/4 wide. Here's the other side of that fabric. I left it loose in case you wanted to do something fun with it. Maybe you could like glue it here and make it that into a pocket as well. Just lots of options you can do with a piece of fabric like that. And there she is. I really love how that came together, but it took me some time to figure it all out, especially with how to keep these pages shut. So using this from one of my leather journals worked out really well because I actually didn't need this with that journal. Next, we've got the vintage grungy junk journal. This is a book cover that I used from a book that is from 1913. So over 100 years old, and it is in great condition. But it looked so amazing. The red is coming up way redder than this is in real life. This is a very faded vintage red. My camera's making it a lot brighter, but the cover itself was so beautiful and matched my grungy theme that I didn't want to cover that up. I was originally going to, and then I decided no, I like it just the way it is. So I just added a little bit to the front there, so it's not just plain. And then I left the original inside papers because they were just that good. Just beautiful, good quality, and they're really fun. So I just wanted them to be enjoyed the way they were. Didn't want to hide that. Let me move the camera a little closer. This one's a little bit smaller. It is 8 inches by 5 3/4, and I measured the 8 inches going up to these pages, not the actual book cover itself. The pages do come out a little bit. I forgot to say, this one has 100 pages, front and back. And this one has 120 pages, front and back. 3 signatures. So we've got a... Why do I always forget what these are called? A scrap, I forget what it's called. So I've got a paper clip here with some texture. We've got an envelope with a wax seal on it. It's a butterfly. I put some sticky stuff on the back so it just kind of sticks but can come off. This is empty, just waiting to be used. All grunged up, coffee dyed. Beautiful butterfly on the back. Got a rustic paper clip here. Lovely crinkly papers. Love the crunch. These ones especially. So much crunch. Okay. Future self. These are called clusters. Why do I keep forgetting that? I've forgotten them so many times. Alright, so this is from a vintage book. And I just put some coffee dyed paper on the back for extra writing space. Just love these colors. They go with my color scheme. As you can see in my fabrics out here, this was basically my color scheme. Rust reds and oranges, browns, tans, with a little bit of white to give lots of contrast. This is some mixed media pages here that I sewed together and turned into a pocket. Didn't really care for the insides. They ended up being a lot darker than what I wanted, so I sewed them together and made them still useful. Center that signature. Love this little sewing here. So this side is also a pocket. 2 nice pockets there. We've got a rusted washer, a little baby paper clip. It's just bronze, it's not rusted. Here we've got a belly band with some extra writing paper. Can easily hold lots of more extra writing paper or whatever you desire to store. I've got a rusted bulldog clip that's just waiting to be used. That's the end of that signature. Starting this one, we've got a brown paper bag, just an empty pocket, another baby safe paper clip. This is a old photo. It's not real vintage. This one was printed, but they also add fun. And this is just some writing space and some texture. And feel free, I left these on because I don't like to cut them. I think they look great long and they're fun to play with. But if you don't like them, feel free to cut them. Here we've got a vintage book page. This was a digital. Baby safety pin. This is a, what are they called? You know what they are. And I just did a lot of mixed media on that. It's kind of fragile, so you gotta be careful with that paper doily. So careful with that one. Did lots of stamping. Lots of coffee grunge. Got a paper clip here. It's just black. It's not rusted. And this is just some fabric with some fun things hanging off of it. These are rusted. Not the safety pin though. With the bulb safety pin, that's not rusted. Did some painting here, and I've got some of that texture paper here. The other side of that bag. And third signature. I've got some nice thick art paper. This is a rusted keychain ring. I used, what's it called? Not charcoal. Is it charcoal? I don't remember. But yeah, I used that in my pages. And gesso. I used acrylic paints and stamps. And then obviously these are all coffee dyed. There's a rusted paper clip. This I gessoed to make some more writing space. And I just did some fun sewing around it. And here is a belly band with a tag for some writing space and some textures. And here I sewed some pages, some scrap papers on to make a little notebook. And there's some gessoing on a stencil. This little girl, she cracks me up. Look at that grumpy little face. So I had to include her in my grunge journal. And then I got some fun textures on here too. Got a rusted washer. Some gesso. And some more charcoal stamps. Here we've got a rusted paper clip with a keychain. Feel free to add some fun stuff to that. Take stuff off, use it where you want. The whole point of grunge that I've found is just to be so free. Grunge mixed with mixed media are just so much fun. They pair so well together. Here we've just got some cute little charms and lots of fabric. This says, always be on the lookout for the presence of wonder. And this is some beautiful double-sided paper. And then this is from the original book. I wanted to keep this with the book so that whoever buys it can have this. So they'll know what the book cover was made from. It's got this beautiful artwork in it. And I guess vintage books used this like tracing paper kind of stuff here to protect the picture. Like maybe the picture would rub off. I'm not sure. And this is where it says 1913. Copyright 1909. So that just slips in there. Lots going on that page. Then the back of it here, we've got some painting. This is a real vintage photo of an older gentleman hiding in the shadows of a tree. That felt like it deserved to be in the grungy journal. This lovely digital pocket, digital print. And that's her. So stay tuned for the next video, and you'll see the two bigger journals in that one. Thanks for watching.